Hi guys, welcome back. So this week we have someone very special. It's one of my oldest and dearest friends, Rudrani. Second name?
Oliveira.
And we worked together for years in a restaurant called the Old Storehouse in Temple Bar, where we fell in love, even if she didn't want it at first. And yeah, she's one of the most interesting people I think I've ever known. And she works with a lot of different medicines, a lot of different plant medicines, her and her partner Shane, and they try to make the world a better place, and I think they're doing a good job so far, so I'm very excited to have her here. And I love her. How are you?
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah, so these books, I want to tell you about them. This is Nancy Tillman, and I'll read a little bit of one of them because it's so cute. Oh, this one is so cute. This is like, I feel like this is like the idea of reincarnation.
Oh, wow.
It's like if one day we're walking and talking, just us, when you're abracadabra a rhinoceros, I might be surprised, but just for a while, I know it was you by your magical smile. I know, and then it goes through all the different animals.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I might send you some. I'll send you some.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so nice. And for you to read as well. Like, they make me cry.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Oh.
So tell me because I didn't even, we talked a lot before we came on today because we had lots of catching up to do. So we talked in the car, but I kept saying, I was like, no, not yet, because I wanted to hear. So I haven't actually talked to you about work properly.
Mm.
So how many retreats have you done now, fully?
Well, usually we have like 4 retreats by the year, but this year like I have an extra one because I made my first woman retreat, which was like
I saw on social media.
Yeah, I was
How many
it's beyond
women?
words. Like we were in total 15, 14. Yeah, 15, 14.
And what type of women, like what kind of careers do they do?
Well, they're all different, like
Yeah.
type of women, doing different things. And it was very interesting because the group was like, each woman was so unique, you know? And the way that I was building, I was asking them like for different activities, like bringing different colors of outfits. Specific ones was like black, red and white. And it was so funny because in the black outfit, and it's like you can see the difference of like the quality of the woman was the sex one, was like the nerd one, was the shy one, and we want to look like we feel like we all witches, together. And it's like so it was like all different women. Like,
and why did you start to interpret? Why did you want them to bring different colors?
Because was the different activity that we done. Like with the black outfits, we work with the shadow aspects of the feminine. So it was interesting, like in my idea when I organized the retreats, I have the black white fits like that you can actually embrace your shadows, Because the thing with the shadows, we have this tendency to put like on the side or be ashamed or guilt about it. So when I decided to do the activities, like, okay, if we all wearing the black, you actually okay, I can embrace this shadow aspect, this dark aspect for my side, And yeah, it was interesting. It was still like a challenge for a few of them. Like they got like the
Were you drinking the medicine before and during this?
No, just during the night. The medicine is always like in any retreats, It's like the first part in our retreats is all about like psychotherapeutic works. So we bring like different activities for people diving into the psychic and emotions and in the body, connects with the memories in the body.
And from what I've understand, because I've drank the plant medicine twice with you now. From what I understand, because yes, the second time I think I took it a lot more seriously. You're trying to surface the emotion that you're going to use the plant medicine to process.
Exactly.
So you're essentially basically getting rid of the appearance to the group. You're trying to basically make yourself vulnerable so that the plant medicine works. Is that right?
Yeah. The idea is because like when I started to work with the plant medicine the first time, you were there. You're the first one that
I know you're here.
In my first ever ceremony. I was like, I understood that I don't want to just like be in the place that is just serving the medicine. Yeah. Because the people are still like very immature, there is a lot of immaturity, especially in the fields of the plant medicine. People's going like, oh, please save my life. The medicine is not going to do that, And when I started working, it was like, that was my feeling. It was like, oh, it's something missing here.
It's not like a one-stop shop. No. Like you have to, and like I've done therapy with Marcus, who's also Rudrani. Ingrid was her human name. Rudrani is her spiritual soul name. I work with Marcus, who's also your therapist, and we did lots of therapy together, and then he said to me, okay, now I think you're ready to go and drink the medicine. So like for him, he wasn't really encouraging me to do it until I'd reached a point with my trauma where I was able to actually allow the excavation of the rest of the things to actually happen. And I don't think I would have gotten to the place. And then the medicine was like it was like night and day. It was like that night. It was like changed my whole life. You know, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, it was amazing. But it was definitely the therapy was like needed beforehand. Yeah.
It's really the main support, because imagine the society as a child full of traumas. You know, of course, everyone has different like lifestyles and everything, but the majority of us is full of traumas, different traumas.
Yeah.
And so when you enter in the plant medicine world, it's like any plant medicine, because Ireland has a beautiful one with the mushrooms. You know,
mushrooms.
You have it, like it's so beautiful medicine, but like it depends how you use it as well. You know, like could help so many people with like depression, like anxiety, and so many things. But if you're using like with this fantasy, immature fantasy on your head, actually instead to bring the benefits, it's gonna bring you to another place.
And if you do it recreationally with your friends after drinking or do cocaine, and then you're like, let's do mushrooms, like that shit is medicine. You know, that shit has its purpose in your life, and so you have to take it serious, you know? It's a serious thing.
And that is disrespectful for the nature as well.
Yeah.
Because it's the nature giving all this plant medicine for us.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you're seeing Amazon and the planet Earth with all the wars that's going on, it's like we destroy the planet.
Yeah.
Which is giving us so much abundance.
Oh, it gives us everything we need. Yeah. Like now people are kind of going back to that natural way of living where they're like, oh, if I change my diet, I won't get sick. And then I don't have to take these fucking pharmaceutical medicines. You know what I mean? It's like you realize that the source is the answer, you know? It's like Mother Earth is the answer to a lot of the things that we're like chasing our doctors about, you know? It's like, no, pull it back, do less. Focus on the nutrition and all these types of things, you know? It's like
in the connection with the body again.
Yeah.
I think what's happened with us, we're so disconnected for our body.
Yeah.
And we're so connected and identified with the mind.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's only a mechanism for us to using in these planets that we're living now.
True. Like, as in you mean the world, like human beings are out of balance, as in they put more importance on their mind and not as important. Yeah. And they're so in sync. Like, that's the other thing that I realized, that like if I eat certain foods, I'll have more anxiety. You know, if I eat certain foods, if there's physical things that you do that then cause mental distress, and you think the problem is with the mind, whereas the body can help, you know, and there's like, it's crazy how all of them are so connected, and yet people will like that focus on solutions instead of preventions, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And that, to be fair, in Ireland, that's the thing, that's it, like the health, like, the health, like environment, there is no like prevention.
Mm-mm.
So people don't know what prevention is. Mm-hmm. And you have to learn it like this, you know, like, because if you don't take care of your body, it's a mathematics, it's a logical thing. Yeah. And I'm so logical, you know, like I love that. Like, if you don't take care of this, like how are you expecting you're going to arrive in a certain age in health, you know? How's your mind's going to be? Because the food is like really affecting, like, you know, not just food, but like even like a few movements on your body, because make you connect again. For example, if one thing that I'm fascinated about it is like comprehend my emotions through my body, give space for the emotion be there. For example, if you feel anger, like there is a lot of people like escaping for anger because like it's not like a pleasurable emotion to feel, but it's there. You have to acknowledge that. So when you like sit and like feel the vibration of the anger on your body, you're gonna see like a massive difference. Instead to try change or comprehending or healing anything, just feel exactly the way that it is for a few seconds, you know, and then you see how it feels like on your body. And then after, if you want to try to comprehend the reason and everything, but like allow yourself, give space to your body just to feel whatever is there, you know, sadness or joy or anything. That's how you start to reconnect with your body. Yeah. Because I can see like with so many people coming to the retreats or the working home, when you bring our like exercise, because it's always like a breath work, which like the breathing is like is a proper key to align yourself, to connect yourself with your body again. So when you're like breathing properly and you're doing proper breathing technique, you can assess that so deeply. When you're doing some body movements as well, like you're able like to movement this energy that is on your body. Assess some deep emotion that's like, wow, I didn't know was that. Even a memory that's maybe like you not even remember, you can assess that like through these movements. So we always bring that. I can see like the blockage and be like, oh my God, when you brought that, I can see like there is a massive no to me enter and feel my body. Feel like I don't even have my body anymore. I was like, yeah, it's so disconnect, so in the mind that you completely like not even realize what's going on here. Yeah. And when you feel sick and when you will like, what's happened? you disconnect from your body.
Yeah.
Your body speaks to you. When you seek it, it's your body like, hey, look at me. Something going on here, take care of me. And that's the thing. That's the language of the body. When you connect with your body, you listen what your body needs, what you need actually.
Yeah. And I feel like you offer so many different services, and you've done so many things, like, with chanting and with singing and with breath work and with meditation and plant medicines and different medicines. Do you think that what a person needs depends on who they are? Like, as in there's a range of options, or like, as in I don't really love some meditations, but then other meditations suit me better, so like, the way sometimes I feel like spirituality and a journey that me and you kind of are interested in seems a bit daunting because there's so many things to do, but you're very much a teacher in that world, so you like to experiment and try all the different things. But like, I think for each individual it's important to know that one or two of those things can be the thing. Like, some people can just meditate and they feel better that way, and some people can just do yoga and they do that way. Like, there's lots of different ways to access what we're talking about, and it's not necessarily that you have to do each and every thing. Yeah. But you're just someone who likes to try all the things, right? And like, I think because you're so deep in that world, you do all the things like with second nature. But when I talk to people about the experience I've had with you and stuff, I think people are kind of afraid of spirituality and plant medicines, and they think it's a lot of hippie stuff, and it is a lot of hippie stuff. But then there's also just like regular people who are just accessing it in different ways. It doesn't have to be an entire, it's like religion or anything. Like, there's someone who's a priest and then they're very much in the religion, and then there's someone who goes to mass every week, and like, you can be that with spirituality. Like, you don't necessarily have to abide by all of these things to feel connected to your body and connected to your soul. Do you know? Like, as in, I'm quite spiritual, but like, I don't practice it as heavily as you guys would. But like, we meet somewhere in the middle, And I feel like that's where the misconception is with spirituality, that people think it's like this hippie world. And it's like, no, it can be whatever you want it to be. But there's definitely a lot to be said for tapping into that world.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like, when you become like obsessed, there is an obsession on your mind, like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
it's like,
the pressure.
It's not natural.
It's not natural.
No. We're back again to your body. What your body's needed.
Yeah.
Like, for example, types of meditation for you is not working.
Exactly, yeah.
And as that's like, I've been mad for a new technique now that I've been learning since March. It's called suchness. It's actually the path of the illumination of Buddha, which is like a pure contemplation of the body. Exactly what I say, like, to just like welcome all the sensation, or to, like, feel the vibration of your body.
It's a meditation, right?
It's a meditation.
Yeah.
But like, it's like the way that's working for me, and I've been understand even more meditation. If I'm like being practiced like for years, is like, it's bringing me more to the present, and that's what I believe in meditation is about, you being present.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the person sits there like for half an hour, but they're being, oh yeah, I have to cooking, oh I have to go this, I have to shopping. This is not meditation, because you're being completely on, or analyzing your whole life and try to understand it. This is not meditation.
No.
Meditation is about like being present.
Yeah.
So like, this technique is like, contemplate the body, contemplate your breath. So you put your full concentration on your breath, natural breath, just like feel the air and like coming in and out, and then notice what kind of thoughts on your mind without identify with them or any voices of the mind. When I say voices, be careful. No, it's like not a voice like a ghost or anything. Like this voice that we always talk like, y'all say something, like we were talking about, like feel insecure, like we always like, oh, I want to do something, and then like there is this little creepy voice like, oh no, people gonna judge you, like those type of voices, because we all have, which is completely different from all the types of like, psychiatric type of voices in the mind. And when you can contemplate, like to be notice what's going on in your mind without identify yourself, as you notice there is a fly in the room. You see the noise of the fly, it's there, annoy you, but you not identify yourself, you just be aware of. Simple like this. And you contemplate the silence for 1 minute. I do this for 1 minute now every day, like in the morning and in the night. It's completely different.
Just 1 minute?
1 minute.
Oh, that's so, because some people meditate for like hours, and I'm like, where, like, especially with Rudrani has a daughter as well, so especially with a kid, like, I'm like, what the fuck do you think I have, Marcus said to me, he's like, you need to meditate. I was like, well, I'm not going to pay a childminder so I can fucking meditate, like, But 1 minute is so doable. 1 minute. And it's changed. Do you feel like it's changed your reaction time? Because you're a Leo. So she's a spicy gal. We work together, so I got to experience lots of fun times. But you're very reactive, like me, right? We're both fire signs, I'm Sagittarius, so we're very reactive in the situation. Do you feel like that 1 minute has changed your reaction time?
completely.
Has
Because
it?
like it's like, especially in the morning, you know, when you wake up and then you start like, especially at motherhood, I have to do this, work. I'm working from home now, so it's like I
we
wake
work
up
for
like
ourselves as well, so like the pressure's never lifted. You're not clocking in and clocking out. Like there's always things you can do to make your work better, so it's hard to like turn off, right?
Super hard. So like first thing that I wake up now, like before even thinking, I just stop and doing like.
And where's Shanti when you do this?
Shanti is with Shane.
Okay, so you say like, you take 10 minutes by yourself, kind of.
And then he's go for his, after I like finish mine, and then he go for his meditation.
He's a big meditation guy.
He does like 20 minutes, like 15 minutes. Now sitting there, like for me, I practice this 1 minute because that's how I experience my body. It's like I want to be present. I want to like being fully concentrated on my breath, feeling my body, be aware what's going on in my mind. And be present, because when I start to pass this, it's naturally my mind, like, you know, I'm overthinking. I start to think about the things and it's gone. And it's about, for me, it's about be present. You know, I be present, like, and like really feel the vibration, like the energy. It's working so well for my entire day. And in the night as well. Before I go to bed, I do in 1 minute as well. Like just put Shanti to sleep. And I have my little time there, sit down and just doing like 1 minute. It's literally 1 minute. And it's changing completely because you feel like, whoa, it's a space, it's almost like a inside of you. Without sound, you just feel like, whoa, that's so good. It's orgasmic, you know, it's so good.
Are you going to move up to 2 minutes?
Well, look, I mean, depends on like what you're going. Like if you wanted to do just 1 minute, that's what suits you, yeah. But I like to do 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the night.
Yeah, but are you going to try do 2 and 2, or are you happy to do this 1
and 1?
Well,
like if for now 1, that's what's working for me. If I feel like I want to improve a little bit more and go for 2 minutes and 3 minutes, I feel like, oh yeah, I actually can do 10 minutes now and be present. But the main thing, you need to be present. Because if your mind starts like blah, blah, blah,
which mine does nearly straight away. So you're prioritizing the consistency and the habit over the actual, because for me that actually, I'm so glad I talked to you about this, because I think meditation is the thing I'm missing in my life. I really do, you know. I feel like I'm good physically, I can eat healthy, you know, a lot of the things, but it's my mind is a little bit overactive. And it's stress, you know. But I find the idea of having to sit down and try to meditate for 15 minutes too much. It's too much. It's like an extra job on my list of to-do lists. So I feel like a minute is perfect.
Yeah, try a minute. I think it's like it's a little pill.
Do you set a timer?
Set a timer, yeah. It's important, otherwise, like, and you know, like you commit for 1 minute, you'll be there fully concentrated on your breath, feeling your body, be aware what's going on there, you know, fully aware, like as you witness the move, you know, and you go to the cinema, you watch like it's there, but you not identify yourself. And just enjoy the silence. And this silence, that's the main thing. The silence for me, like when people like sitting and feel the silence. And it's like there is a noise in there, all the things like, oh, I can't be in the silence. And it was funny because I have an experience when I was traveling in India by myself. And I was like, I want to like pass the New Year's Eve in the most silent place ever. So I went to the place in Himalayas, like, now I'm going to have the peace here. And on the last day of the year, arrived a bunch of Indians, like, you know, people like from India, like with speakers, super noise. I was like, no. And that day I understand, it's like, okay, cool. I looking for the silence external, not internal for me. So this silence that when I contemplate, it's not this silence that is like isolated from noise or sound. It's almost touchable because you're there, you're present. It's the silence of like born from the presence. When you fully present, I can hear Shanti's crying, I can hear the birds, I can hear the winds or whatever is there, but the silence is still there. And that's the silence, you know?
Yeah, I think you always fucking know when you meet someone who meditates as well. I'm like, you are so internally calm, you know? Like there's Christina, who I did my master's with, she reminds me of like you and Mariana and everyone, like who's very calm, but she, like when someone reacts negatively to her, you can tell that she processes it first. She's given herself this space of calmness and this space of silence where it almost provides like a filter when she encounters something that would, in me, make conflict happen. You know, like I would be like, what the fuck? You know, like I'd react straight away, whereas she doesn't allow external things to disrupt her silence. And I feel like I'm like, you meditate. Like you just know, you know the way you know when you meet people who meditate, and it's like they have this hack where they're just like, okay, well, let me wait a second. And then they'll react to the world in a way that feels like responsible instead of just like fucking reaction.
That's exactly what you say. Like it's a minute for filter.
Yeah.
Because emotion, it's a time for you to feel what's going on your body.
I think it's harder for us because we're fire signs.
It is, but like it's possible as well. It is possible. That I have my moments of like, I can explode and it's like, whoa, and be there, like with less guilt as well, just accepting like my nature. Of course, But there is moment that I can really manage this fire as well, and guiding this fire to another place. You know, like it's like breathing, especially if Shanti now, like she's grown, she has her personality.
She's
like
testing things,
testing things. It's like, whoa, I need to breathe because who's the adult here? You know.
I know. I feel so guilty when I get cross with Ava at all. And I never really do. Like, I'm a very good mom, but like I really, I there's some moments where I'm just like, and then I'm like, Neve, she's a child, like. Sort your shit out. You're a grown adult. Like, figure yourself out. You can't be shouting at your child, you know? Not that I do. But, like, you know, you get that impulse. Like, I get that impulse sometimes where I'm just like, enough of this. And then I'm like, no. She needs something. And it's your responsibility to take care of her. Like, you know?
It's in the end, it's like it's a mirror.
Yeah.
Whatever's like intriguing in the child, it's something in you. It's your little child. We have to remember we have a little child inside. And it's very tantrum child, you know, it's like very disturbing child. So when this touches awakening, is that the reaction? Like, now I start to like have this relationship with my inner child. You know, it's like, okay, it's you there. Like, I understand. I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I have difficulty to deal with you because you're so impulsive, but I'm here. I'm here for you. If you need me, like, you know, we can breathe in together. Like, I make like a new conversation with her. Because before, like, I can see like my lack of patience with my inner child sometimes, because that's the thing, like with the whole traumas that she has, like the reaction, I start to understand more my explosions as well, my triggers. One thing that was a beautiful thing that I have like 3 weeks ago, of course, in a deep process that I've been through, like 3 weeks ago, I have a beautiful meeting, one of the ceremonies that we're holding with my inner child, and I understand it's like, I'm just like calm, this thing like something that I've been saying to Shanti, and it's like, why I'm saying this to her, like it seems like there is nothing here to say, and so I start to investigate myself, and it's like, how am I gonna say to someone to be calm if I don't know what's calm is?
Yeah.
Because at least in my experience as a child, I didn't have calm around. My environment was very chaotic, you know, with my parents, with my family, even the community that I grew up, like it was a lot of violence. So it's like, I don't know what calm is. And it was like so relaxing. Because, you know, when you're forcing to having something that you actually don't have, and I start to connect with my nervous system, I was like, that's so relaxing now. Because I don't have to like forcing something that I don't know, but I'm open to learning. I'm open to learning what calm is and how I can welcome the calm into my life. And that's really been so a life changing for me, you know, because I was able to assess it in the super mature way, like of like to comprehend, it's like, okay, what I actually have in my system, what my nervous system has like memorized it, and I don't have calm. So how am I gonna supposed to be a calm person? I'm gonna fake, I'm gonna put a mask to like pretending I'm super calm, but inside I'm like full of rage. And it's like, no, okay, but I want to welcome this with more maturity. And that's how I'm doing, like more kindness, you know. I started learning to be more kind with myself as well. Before I was very punishing, like, you're not good, oh, you exploding, you're a horrible person, you're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, Rudrani, that's what you have. That's the material that you learn. Now you have an opportunity to learn how to love. Because a lot of people, like, it's like, oh, it's like, the thing is like, I have difficult, now I come in like with my fiery, when the people go to the spirituality, it's like, oh, open eyes, waking and love, everyone's love, like, but you don't even know what love is.
Oh, I used to think it was so funny when you would come back from the retreats. So you would go to France for the retreats, and like, I thought you'd come back like, kumbaya, and you'd be like, there was this fucking bitch. And so funny, because like at these retreats, it's human beings, like, that's the expectancy. People think that there's just going to be everyone's like kumbaya, and it's like, no, people will piss you off in every single world. And like, it's like it's ridiculous to expect the maintenance of that type of thing, because we're human beings, so you have to always allow the change, right?
You have to, because otherwise, again, you're going to start wearing like fantasies and put your masks on to pretending something, you know, like,
or thinking you're better than someone because you can perform certain things more, or not allowing, like I had a friend before, and he was like, I just want to live in a commune in the countryside somewhere. And I respect that and I love that, but then I think sometimes people want to maintain this level of calm so much that they remove themselves from a society. And then you remove yourselves from the beauty of society. You know, like, you don't want to become so much of one thing that you forget about this entire world that's not that thing. Because people have found in this world ways to be lots of other things that are very beautiful and different. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as you want to move away from the chaos also has a lot of beauty in it. So, like, you can't come away from everything too much, you know? That's why I worry about people going too far into spirituality sometimes, and then they don't want, they see so much wrong with society that they want to remove themselves from society. But, like, that's no way of living, you know?
It's
like,
escape.
Yeah, it's escape. Like, the true calmness is the acceptance of the change, I think. You know what I mean? It's not this, like, I want to maintain this feeling, now I've got it. It's like, no, let me know that I can access it, but that other things are going to happen as well. You know, like, life is happening.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's the word, acceptance.
Yeah.
You know, acceptance, that is like we are human beings
Yeah.
and we imperfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have a group of students like last Sunday, and that's like one of the chapters of the book was talk about like this acceptance of like we have a limited understanding.
Yeah.
You know, these people coming with so many questions. Well, who is God? Oh, but God's that. He has existed before. Or it's like, okay.
We don't fucking know.
And we don't want to know. And
Nobody
we don't
knows.
want to know.
And, like, let it be a guessing game. Like, let it be fun. Let it be imaginative. Like, why are we fighting over something that nobody knows? It's insane. Nobody fucking knows. Like, nobody knows.
Leave it there.
Leave it there. Let's imagine. You know, like, that's why I love, you know, this Will Ferrell movie, I don't know if you saw Talladega Nights, you know, where he's like, I like to imagine Jesus as a mischievous badger. And it's like, and it's such a realistic way to view faith, because it's like, it can be whatever you need it to be in whatever moment you need it to be. Like, there's no fight. Like, you're not acting out of God if you're fighting at all. Do you know that kind of way? Like, that's not what it's about. Like, it's, if you're finding a way to use it as a weapon, it's you know what I mean? It's a sense of it. It's
and that you try created this as a matter, you know, like God experienced each one in your own way, on your body, and what you believe and feel that is right. It's not about like find like a proper, like, can I touch, can I see,
like I need to go to mass every week, or I don't believe in God enough. Like, this type of rigidity where it's like, no, like, you can go for a walk on the beach and that can be your act of service to God that day. Like, you taking care of yourself, like, is an act of service to God. Like, it's just whenever people try to humanize something that is cosmic, it just infuriates me. I'm like, why are we acting like it's anything tangible? It's not. It's imaginative. It's fantasy. It's play. It's the beauty of the unknown, you know? Yeah. It's like...
And trust as well. Trusting on your feelings, on your
your intuition.
You know, your intuition is there. You know, the magic is always going to live there. Like, that. I think that's the main thing. Like, for me, spirituality is like... is trust in the magic.
Yeah.
And not even think to know, like, try to understand, like, but what is the magic? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just ease.
I wonder. Like, that's all I do. Like, I don't really try and grasp. I don't really try and hold on to any idea. I just wonder. You know, I just sit there and I'm like, I don't know. You know, maybe this, you know, maybe this, like, you know, but it's like letting it be consistently transformative. Like, letting it be whatever it needs to be. And, like, sometimes... Like, I think humans are God, you know, that kind of way. Like, sometimes it's just things happen where I'm just like, oh, perfect. Like, this is exactly what I needed in this moment, you know? And it didn't happen in mass. It didn't happen when I was praying. It happened when I decided that I was going to do what I wanted to do today. And then I stayed on my journey, and then something else magical came from that journey. Like, it's not, you know, it's not this strict, like, you have to do this for this. It's like, I think, like, intuition is probably one of the most driving forces of whatever God is like staying true to yourself, you know?
And never gonna have a proper explanation what's this, you know? It's like, because it's a compilation of like what's the experience that you've been having already, like it is natural intelligence that you have memorized on your body, plus the instincts. And then you can use in that, you know, and you have to be super present as well to really listen, because you know, sometimes like, oh my God, I knew, and then why you didn't listen? Because it wasn't present, you know, like that's the thing, like.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because sometimes this is something I go between all the time. You know, the way you believe in messages, right? Like, we receive messages from the universe or whatever, and like things show up in your path. And then, but I'm always like, is this a message or is this a fucking test? Is this a test? You know, like, say I want to be abstinent and I don't want to date people anymore. And then, like, someone who I fancied for ages texts me. I'm like, is this a test of my abstinence? Or is this a message that I'm actually not supposed to be as hard on myself and restrict myself to this way of living? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I'm not gonna have sex for 5 years, you know, and then you're like so strict on yourself and you're holding yourself in this place. But everything else in the world is changing constantly and shifting. So you holding yourself in this place is actually restricting yourself from experiencing your path. Like, it's like you're walking along your path and you stop and you're like, I'm not, you know, it's like you have to keep walking to know what's right for you. And so, like, from your perspective, like, when you encounter these things, do you ask this question as well? Like, do you know the difference between a test and a message now?
I can't have like I know what's test and what is a message.
Do you?
Like I can't have.
You can see the difference.
If I have to be very disconnected to myself to not getting that, you know, like, but like I can feel like woof. This, because the test for me, it's coming to connect with the patterns. You know, this advice or circle that's repeating. Is when there is a pattern, it's going to be a test. It's like, okay. Like, you know, when you go to school and you repeat a subject like again and again and again and again, because you need to learn.
Yeah.
Anything that's coming as a test is because there is a pattern. You know, there is a vicious circles that make you like doing this again and again and again until you learn.
So you're saying I can't fuck the guy?
I didn't say that, but like, what's your commitment? What was the main thing? Because I have like, remember I have like when I was traveling to India, was my main thing. So it's like I'm gonna be 1 year like in my.
You did abstinence.
Like, I did completely like a proper celibate for myself.
Yeah, no masturbation.
I needed like nothing, just for me to like comprehend him, even to reconnect with my sexuality again, you know, because I think it again is a powerful energy that we never talk, because that is a massive taboo. Like, sex.
I'll talk about it. Well, we'll talk about it.
We love that. It's so important to talk about it. You know,
remember you used to come. Remember, you used to come and you'd have a face on you, and I'd be like, I could tell that you were getting excited physically thinking about this experience, and I'd be like, get away from me, get away with your horny energy. Because we get so excited. You'd be like, juicy story. But it's so natural.
It's so natural. And it's everywhere when you're doing a project and you feel this excitement.
The creative energy is similar.
It's the sexual energy. And it's here on your basic chakra, you know? Like, and it's like, because not just from our generation, but even before, we're so castrated by...
Brazil, the same.
It's the same.
Is it the same culture?
The same. I think it's everywhere.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, I think when you talk about sexuality, it's like people like go straight away for this pervert, like, the shame, you know, it's like it's always connected with the shame. It's like, why we give birth through that, like, how this could be shame.
It's always, shame seems to always be linked to the things that we have in common. You know, like the things that are the most shameful are the things that we can actually universally connect with. It's kind of weird. And again, I wonder if that's like, is that the work of humanity, or is that the work of the universe? Like, are some things meant to be private? Or do you think that the exposure of everything allows for us to kind of work through our shame and work through our shadows? And, you know, like, are there some things that are supposed to be private now?
I think, no. I think, like, it's time for us, like, to talk about everything.
To talk about everything? I like to talk about everything, you know. Like, we're open as fuck. Like, we talk about
have
everything.
2 daughters. Like, I want to talk to her about absolutely everything, you know. Like.
And then I'm curious, like, if I was with a partner and, like, we had a sex problem, like, I would want to bring that up at the dinner table with my friends, you know, like, and not because I think it's really interesting. Like, I don't want to talk about boring shit. I think it's really fucking interesting. Plus, I think somebody else in that room can help us, you know, like, and if we're keeping a problem secret, that can be helped so fast if it wasn't shameful to speak about it, you know. And so many people are afraid to talk about something that like 5 of their friends are also experiencing. Like, you know, none of my friends talked about masturbation. Only when I went to college, when I was 18, I genuinely thought women didn't masturbate. Genuinely thought. And because I didn't, because I have something biologically wrong with me, which is not okay, but we'll save that for a different episode. But I genuinely was like, no, we don't. I knew boys did, because, like, you know what I mean? It's all over the telly and it's in the culture, but I didn't know women did. And again, I was like, what? I could have talked about this when I was 13. I would have liked to talk about this when I was 13 and actually experience the feelings when your body is maturing at the same level as your sexuality. Do you know what I mean? Like, to feel like what you're doing is the wrong thing when it's literally the time of your life to go through it, and to not have that open conversation with your friends. It's just so sad.
But that's the thing, like that there is 2 points. One, like bring it to the table, something that you want to talk about the parts. It's important the other has like permission as well, because maybe the person's a little bit like reserved, don't want like this. But I agree, like sometimes when you bring it something, that's why we always doing sharings, you know, because I think the share is a proper medicine. Like, oh my God, that's how I feel, and then you can discuss, and then you can see like the common sense there. But the other thing is like it's super important. We will talk about this like recently now, me and Shane, about like the teenager. We always like think about the child or the adult. The teenagers live alone there. And they don't, like, it's a space with so much change, because they're not child anymore, but they're not adulthood.
It's the second developmental time, you know? It's like when you're learning, it's so important. Like, I feel like my teenage years were really fucking hard, and I did feel like that I felt quite alone a lot of the time. And I think that was where a lot of the trauma was born, was that feeling so independent, and then not having anybody when you need. That's when you need guidance. Like, that's
so
when you need mentors.
So
that's
much.
what. And I'm gonna be the same with Ava. Like, I'm gonna be like, who's bitching about who in school? Who's friends with who? Like, because I feel like sometimes adults feel too big to get involved with childish drama, but it's the exact same fucking thing that we go through. Like, if your daughter is sad because her best friend isn't talking to her, I'm getting sad. But if your daughter's sad because her best friend isn't talking to her, that's a real problem. Like, that's more important than the war to me, you know? And the fact that adults sometimes discount like teenagers' problems is like so sad, because that's where like addiction grows, and that's where people start to like bleach their hair unnecessarily, you know? But it's like that's where sadness really starts to grow in those years, because you're not getting taken care of in the same way, and you're given all this responsibility that's not supposed to be given. Like, we're not supposed to decide what to do with the rest of our lives when we're 16.
No, we don't even have maturity for that.
We're just getting our tits. Like, we just got tits for the first time, and then you have to be like, well, what are you going to do with the rest of yours? Like, can we not just celebrate the fact that we've just grown physically? You know, it's like, it's such a weird world that we expect so much of these teenagers.
It's so much pressure for the teenagers, because like that's the thing, like the parents is like, oh, you're not a child anymore, but you're not adult, and you have to take responsibilities. Like, but the hormones change, your body's change, you overthink, and you're like, you're confusing, like physically and energetically, you're confused about like, okay, I'm not a child anymore, but I'm not adult. Who I am?
Who am I? Who am I?
You know, like,
who am I in every avenue? And there's like so many avenues. And then all of a sudden it's like, but did you do your geography homework? It's like, fuck your geography homework.
You have to pass your exams, and so much pressure.
So much pressure. And even when you have a boyfriend at that age, for some reason adults act like that's just your first love. And it's like, but that's where you're learning to love. Like, why? Like, if Ava's first relationship is with somebody and it's a little bit toxic, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to be sitting down and be like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's going on that you feel like you deserve to be treated like this? What's going on that you're treating him like this? Like, what is going on with you? I'm your adult. I'm here to protect you. And instead, for some reason, especially in Ireland, I think our parents are like, wanted to disconnect from us because they felt like we needed to be on our own. I think that that's what it was. I think that they
want to like grow up.
Or they think that you don't need them because you're telling them that you don't need them. You know, everything about you. And so they accept the rejection. But really, it's like, that's pain, you know? That's pain. Like, and I suffered, like, I still look back on my 15 to 20-year-old years as some of my biggest decision-making time in my whole life. And I'm 30 now, you know? And the last 5 years, having a baby and all has been so much easier for me. Do you know what I mean? Because I've known who I am. And it's just crazy. I just think, like, it's like X-Men, you know? Like, you're supposed to take kids when they're younger and let them figure out who they are in a safe space, you know? Literally like X-Men, there should be a safe space where it's like, figure out your superpower, and they don't know their superpower, and so they're blasting the door off, and they're shouting at people, and they're angry at themselves because they're ashamed of their power, and it's like all this like crazy beautiful emotion, and like nobody's being like, it's okay, you know? It's so sad.
Just like literally say to them like, you can be yourself, you know, because now it's the moments for discovery, you know, like, and the pleasure, we back like for the sexual energy is where the, like all these things come up and they don't know how to deal with, and then it's very easy for them to start attaching to for pleasure, but distorted. that like there is people become like very addicted to pornography, and being hiding, or people like don't even like touch because that is always relate like because the pleasure is gonna come in anyways because it's a part of the life energy, but how this sexual energy being so guided, feeding like like where we being directing this energy, because otherwise like we're gonna like develop like some pleasures completely distorted, and when you become adult you have to deal with that because in one point you have to deal with that. Well, there is people being blind in this life, passing this life completely blind. It's a choice. We have this free will to do, but like for me in some point you have to do like if you see now the society is like with so much problems of depression, anxiety, suicidal like tendency. What is coming from? This is coming from like all these things that's like there, and the shame, the guilt is driving you to a place that you, oh my God,
it's devastating.
There is no ending, So it's really important like so the teenagers need to like have like a proper like look of like just be. You don't have to make any decision. You don't even have this maturity yet to make any decision. Like, be yourself, explore yourself, and give like this
complete
space.
Freedom to be and to transform and to have the options of to have things to try out. Like Rudrani homeschools, and your baby is too active. Like she's a teenager. She homeschools her 2-year-old, but like as in you're planning on homeschooling. And because we were talking before we came on here, we were talking about like the restriction of this school, and you were talking about what's the name of the school that you're thinking of sending it to?
It's Waldorf. It's starting. It's starting.
Rob, will you look up that name there? What's it called?
Waldorf.
Waldorf. Spell that.
Waldorf. WALDEF. DF. Waldorf. Again, it's easier for me to look at it. Steiner is a German name. It's a German
school, specific school.
Steiner.
WALDEORF. I saw it before. Someone else mentioned it to me.
Yeah, it's really good. Like it's one of like I have so many friends.
And they essentially do child focused work.
Yeah.
So they focus on your child, who they're going to be, who they're supposed to be.
Yeah, like on their gifts and talents.
They listen to their interests.
They listen and give space for the child, like study what they feel like it, have to be. And that's the thing. Like I was talking to my friend, like
it's like X-Men. I really feel like we're kind of like X-Men. Is honest to God, I feel like that's like my dream. Like or Hogwarts. It's like, why are we acting like magic doesn't exist? Like we're basically killing the souls of children by sending them into this place where they're doomed to failure. Like, fair enough if you want to be, but even a lawyer doesn't use half the subjects, a doctor doesn't use half the subjects. Like, if you want to be one of the things that needs lots of studying for, you could still go and do that after having years of freedom and enjoyment to like physically grow and sexually grow and really understand who you are. Just
like it's your abilities. Like I think Platon say the same. In the pyramid, like the pyramids that he created was like people's gonna do what they aptidão. It's in Portuguese. Like what the gift is like they abilities go.
Yeah.
Imagine if there is someone like is amazing cleaner and that's what they like. Well, if you do this with presence, and if you want to do this for like you're doing so well. Yeah.
Look at your one, Marie Kondo. She turned cleaning into a multi-million-dollar business, like, because she was passionate about it.
Exactly.
And there's no shame in it at all.
No.
And like us, we waitressed for years, and everyone would look down on waitressing, and it was the best fucking job I've ever had. And
you make a load of money.
Loads of money, so much freedom, so much relaxed nature, and it gave us that freedom. It gave us that time to grow in so many other ways, because we had 4 days on, 3 days off most weeks, so we had 3 days off, and it's like that. And it's like, if you would listen to society, you would be so convinced that a job is better than that. A different job, a more structured job, where you're even, like working in an insurance company Monday to Friday or something.
But then we're back to the robotic system.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have like a great car, a great profession, a great house. The woman needs to be a mom. Don't give space to be like, I want to be a mom or not. Like, what's my space? You know?
Not everyone should be a mom. Don't be a mom if you don't want to be a mom. It's so good. You travel the world, like, do whatever the fuck you want. Like, but like, I wasn't sure if I wanted. I think I would have been very happy with it. Ava saved my life, so thank God. But like, there's no shame in not wanting to be a parent. Like, don't be a parent if you don't want to be a parent.
Yeah. we know how much responsibility it is.
Oh,
if you're going to do for your planet, it's like, it's insane.
Or if you're going to do it because your friends are doing it, like, don't do it.
And they're not going to be present for this child. And what are going to happen? Another human being full of traumas, need therapy, and so many things. I think that's the thing, like it's a subject that not people even have difficulty to talk about it. You know, like, because it's not coming to the surface. Like when the woman, one thing that is, like, I always say this to you, because I'm 41 now, and
oh my God,
but when I was like after my 36, 37, I heard it for so many, oh my God, you're still single, oh, you're not gonna have babies. It was like,
who was saying this?
So many people, like in work, like so many, like,
like older women in work,
yeah, people
like
from
men,
the work, men's, especially men's, especially men's. Now men's is, like, they have the sexism, and I'm like, oh yeah, you pass away.
Yeah,
it's like, man, it's like, you don't know my life.
Yeah, you have no idea how happy I am.
Like, you know, it's like, the most important things for me is, like, for me to be good.
Yeah.
Because for me to enter in a relationship, a proper relationship, I need to be well, 100%. Good on my mind and 100%. Emotionally as well. Otherwise, what are going to create? More drama, more stress, more like a kind of a separation, and that's not my idea, you know. And I was like, I have it like home birth on 39, like no medications in my home in the middle of my living room. I take a little bit of it, you know, the plant medicine that we serving home, and yeah, it was amazing. But like all the fears that was people put, oh my God, but you old and this, like it's like it's all like this again. We're back to this society that put everything
I know.
In boxes, you know.
I know.
And now serving you. Imagine you being.
Do you know what I always say to people when they try to get? I just say, "Are you happy?" And I look them directly in their eyes, and then so many people are not, you know, and like. They misery craves company, and so I think people who've lived a certain life, even if it hasn't worked out for them, they're afraid of difference. They're afraid of something that's different, and it's like that kind of curiosity of why you're different. It comes from a place of fear for them, where they're just like, "But what's going to happen to you? Like, you know, like this is the way people live. This is the way you should go." And it's like, but we can do whatever the fuck we want, though. You know, like, do people know we can do whatever the fuck we want? Like, people are. Yeah, I think it must be a place of fear, because I don't think it comes from a bad place, you know? People don't, they want you to be good, you know? Like a lot of my family members when I dropped out of college were like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I hated college. And they're like, yeah, but what do you, and I'm like, no, but that's important. That I hated college is very important. Like, I shouldn't do something I hate, right? Like, you know, can we all agree that I shouldn't do something I hate? And it's like, people actually can't have that. They're like, no, but then what about all these other things in the future? I'm like, yeah, but that's the future. Like, right now I'm not happy, so I can change it. And that's my power, and that's my responsibility, you know? And like people are afraid of a lifestyle, I think, that doesn't reflect theirs, you know?
And people are afraid to change as well.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine your comfort zone. It's very uncomfortable, but it's comfortable at the same time. Because like, oh yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I can be here. Like if a change is like, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you don't know what's gonna bring it to you.
It's like the devil, you know.
Yeah. And you have to pay for this, you know.
And we were talking about relationships. We won't go into the personal, obviously, but we were talking about relationships, and like I really want to cover this because I feel like people don't talk about it enough. Not having sex with your partner for a while represents something, you know. Like I think so many people stay in careers that they don't love, but so many people are staying in relationships that they don't love. And if you're not connected physically, talking about sexuality, not talking about sex, not talking about this type of connection, that's why people are staying in unhappy relationships, because they're not talking about their sex lives. So the fact that they haven't fucked their boyfriend in 6 months like flies under the radar. If you're not fucking your husband or your boyfriend, there's something wrong there. And it's not, it needs to end. But like the lack of surfacing these issues is what leads to unhappy relationships, what leads to people cheating, what leads to people turning to porn, what leads to people turning to other ways to be sexually satisfied that are shameful, you know? Like it's like the inability to just confront the smaller issue becomes bigger issues. You know what I mean? Like if you are embarrassed to tell your friends we haven't had sex in 3 months, then you're 100% not going to tell them when lots of other embarrassing things happen. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to confront the discomfort in your life and make it change, or you're going to be uncomfortable forever with lots of different like versions of it.
Oh yeah, or you're gonna like put yourself like on this type of box that you're so unhappy.
So unhappy.
And you're gonna be complaining about
and you
life.
deserve to feel sexy, and you deserve to have sex no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what you are. Like
feel the pleasure.
You're sexy to somebody. Like that's the way, you know what I mean? Like the people that I fancied, my friends are like, ew. And then the people that they fancy, I'm like, ew. You know, like you're somebody's type. So if you're not happy in your relationship, somebody out there is happy to have you. And I think people don't understand that, you know? It's like there's so much to being alone that's amazing. So like alone is like the best option. But also someone will come along and love you exactly the way you are. Like you were talking about Shane, it's the first relationship you've been able to be completely yourself. And like so many people morph into the version of whatever their relationship demands because they're like relationship is like this relationship is easier, it's more comfortable. My family already know them. You know, there's so many reasons to stay. But then your happiness is like the one reason to leave, and it's the most
I think that's the main thing. Like that, you can see like so many relationships like living a completely like illusion, you know.
Well, it's a loveless. Like it's a lot of it is loveless, and like a lot of and I'm not even talking about people I know that much because I honestly don't spend that much time with people as much. Like, but just from my experience of people talking about their parents. You know, like so many of my parents, it was very normal to have parents that weren't super happy together. And like even when I talk to people now and I'm like, do your parents love each other? They're like, yeah, well, they've been together years. And I'm like, what? You know, it should be like, oh, yeah, like it's gross. You know, like that's my reaction. Like I'm so lucky my parents love each other. And I'm like, I think they still have sex, which is great for them, you know. But like, I just, it's so sad that it's normalized to not be in love with your partner. You know, I feel like that's really normalized. Like people are like looking, they don't believe in the magic. They don't believe that exists. You know, they don't believe that the partner exists.
No, don't believe in the connection. But imagining like a couple that is 30 years together.
Yeah.
How they're gonna stepping out and have the courage for like, well, that's actually, okay, am I gonna be alone? Yeah. What's the scary to be alone? Like we were single for ages and we loved that.
Oh my God,
because like I think that was the.
I am still single.
Yeah.
No, I'm planning on staying
like,
there.
but I mean, like I talk about that.
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
Like, we always talk about that. Like it's so good. Just like embrace that. Like and feel
if
like
we
this.
were not single, we couldn't have spent every single time coming home from work with 150 quid in our pocket, going home to smoke 4 joints, sit there talking shit, maybe drink some wine, then go home, get out the next day. We had so much fun. Yeah. You know, like you have your sisters, like have your friends. You know, like you can't cultivate this type of friendship if you're always in a relationship. Like we couldn't have had our friendship if either of us had a relationship. Like that's the truth as well, you know?
It is, and there is people so attached to like they can't be with their own company.
Yeah.
And that's very dangerous. Yeah. That's a big sign. Are you sure you're ready to enter in a relationship? Because if you enter in a relationship just because you're not able to sitting with your own company and like travel by yourself, like there's people like, you go to the cinema alone? It's like, yeah, I do. I love it so much. It's so good.
You get the seat beside you. You get to put stuff on both seats, so you can put your jacket on your phone on one seat, and you get to put your popcorn in the other.
You're going to get a nice.
No, they won't. No, then you get to pick a row by yourself. You get to go. It's like, why would you even need someone to go to the cinema?
But you know what I noticed? Like people, like when they see someone, like especially a woman, alone in the cinema, they're like, "Ooh, what's wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm actually enjoying my time." You know, like I feel that's like few times that I go by in the cinema by myself, I was like, I can see these eyes, especially if couples. It's like,
I see them too, and I just kick my shoes off, throw my legs up, get my popcorn, get my Coke, and I'm like, enjoy farting on each other's mouth.
It's so good. It's like
I'm happy. I'm happy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I chose what I got to see. I chose what I got to eat. I get to listen to girl song the whole. I guess like I'm going to be very excited when I meet my husband, of course. But I'm going to miss this life. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to miss watching whatever I want on the TV. I'm going to miss having my house exactly how I want it. I'm going to miss listening to all my music anytime I want. Like, there's such a freedom to being single. And then you're lucky you found someone who enhances your life so much. Like, Shane is perfect for your life, you know? Like, you couldn't have wanted for more, I don't think. And I'm excited. Like, that's the only thing that beats single for me. That's the only thing, is that one person who makes sense. And then otherwise I'm like,
but like that's the thing, like I was just able to meet him in that way because I was able to like enjoy myself first and be so okay with that.
You would set up you'd set up the plant medicine.
And I was very honest as well. Like it's like, listen, I want a relationship. It's not dating time.
I don't think you could not be honest, even if you tried. Like, you know, when you
were shocked, like 3 days, like seeing each other, it was like, what? I was like, I want a kid. I want a marriage.
Yeah, but it works.
That's my thing.
It works with the right person. It works being yourself. And like I love when you say like, I was very honest. It's like, you are only ever honest. Like, there's no other version of you, you know? You're either honest or not speaking. Like, those are the two roles. But I do want to talk about the plant medicine. So you have been drinking since you were 18.
No, 18. I was first time that I consecrated medicine. I was between 24, 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. This is how I know the universe is so real, because I had gone through the worst breakup of my entire life and had become a crazy person when I met Rudrani. And I came to the storehouse, and Robbie, our manager, had said, he was like, have you met Ingrid? Ingrid was your name at the time. He's like, have you met Ingrid yet? Oh, she's not Ingrid. And I was like, okay, exciting. And then I had been searching for the plant medicine. And it's weird, the way they say it presents itself to you. And I hadn't been searching for it, but I had only actually found out about it in the previous year with said boyfriend. So he had told me about the plant medicine, and I was like so fascinated. I've always loved psychedelics. I've always loved, not saying it's the same at all, but like the curiosity for different experiences has always been in my body. I'm not really afraid of that type of stuff. So I was really curious. And then when I started in the storehouse, I heard rumors of you, like traveling India and stuff. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to get on with it. And then when I met you, I think it was probably our first or second conversation. And I had not asked anybody else that we worked with. It was so weird. And then I remember saying to you, because I think we were talking about spirituality and stuff, and I remember being like, do you know anything about thinking? And you were like, oh yeah, I do. You were like, yeah, the last like 10 years probably at that point. And I was like, what? And like for me, it was this, because the way the TV publicizes and talks about it, is that it's like you go and you do it, and it's this one fucking thing, and so even the exposure to you talking about it, where you were like, yeah, two, maybe sometimes 3 times a year, you were like, I go, and like the normalization of it, and also like the de-romanticizing of it, it wasn't this like, you're gonna go and you're gonna do it and then you're gonna be a different person. It was like, no, like I think like I'm constantly shifting and transforming, and it was such an eye-opening experience, even just meeting you, let alone getting into that world, because it showed me the reality of spirituality and medicines, and like it's the forgiveness of regression. You know what I mean? It's not this road to purity. It's a human experience. It's not this like you put on white clothes and then you're a changed person. No. It's a consistent effort that you have to make, which is the same with everything. So that was really interesting. And then I think you were a part of who was the guy that runs it over in Brazil?
It was like I was part of the fraternity of the Human Bunch.
Yes,
over 12 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how often at that time you were going, like maybe 2 or 3 times?
I go right? Like it's like when they have like some in Europe, or when I go to Brazil as well. Like I started the first time that I had the experience was with the tribes called Yanawas from Amazon. That was my first ever.
You have Amazonian heritage, right?
My grandma was like from Amazon. And then she say like all her like
she like
ancestors like just
Rudrani will put a spell on you, motherfuckers. Remember you?
Oh my god. she was a hard, tough woman. Yeah.
I can see that in you though. You can see
she was
that
the one that
energy.
teach me everything. Like that's the thing. Like the spirituality in my life was so common. Like even like you talk about like when people say. Like especially in Ireland, the Irish people like about mediumship, like people all this and that. And asking me, I was like, I don't know, like I grew up there. People incorporated, like I can't, like it was my life. Like
you didn't enter into it.
No. It's harder to say like, oh yeah,
like Shanti, like Shanti's never gonna be.
Something. Oh yeah, like she's grew up there. She say like it was the same for me when my grannies brought me to the terreiro de Umbanda. When my mommy brought me like
Umbanda.
Like Umbanda is a religion arriving in Brazil with the Africans. Unfortunately, when they arrived there as slavers, and they wasn't able to using like doing the rituals because was judged by the white people as a voodoo or black witchcraft.
And what kind of rituals?
So many, like the dates that they esoteric, like they very earthy. All the energy of like the gods and goddess is very earth. So they kind of like scary the society, like they're demons, They're not, like they are very earthy energy, so they're doing a lot of drumming, they're doing a lot of channeling, they're doing like rituals, like with food. They offer foods for these dates, each date has this type of foods, some with coconut, some different like fruits and proper plates, and I love it so much because my granny was very into that, so she's doing so much, and my mom was more like into the spiritism, which like again talk about like mediumship and everything, but like in very doctrinal way. And that was my path as well, even with the plant medicine, because in Brazil I consecrate a lot with the indigenous, but when I arrived in Ireland, I was in the church, because there is a proper church, which is the Santo Daime Church.
Yeah.
Is that like they actually dress up, like there is a uniform, like with a tie.
You told me you brought Shane,
like,
right?
Yeah, I brought Shane. Shane says like, it seems like I'm in the mass, but everyone drinking like the medicine is like, it's so weird, but like it's so structured as well. I love it so much.
But I wonder if that was part of all masses, because even we drink the body of Christ. Like I do wonder if I'm like, this can't always have been wine. Like even the drinking of wine, like there's an element of the ritual that like there's like, it's like they've taken the magic out of some of the rituals to try and keep people safe, and because they don't want people to test out different ways of consciousness and stuff. But really it's like that was the way it's supposed to be. Like as human beings, I think we were always born to perform rituals, to come together as a community, to heal, to see who needs more medicine. It's like this has always been a part of our culture, and it's like they just took away a lot of the fun fucking shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, your culture is beautiful. I love it. Like I'm in connection with your Irish.
You're Irish.
Like it's like I am. Yeah. And then with the witches, with the elves, with the fairies,
folklore.
It's so rich.
Yeah.
Like
the Hill of Tara. It's
Oh.
called the entrance to the other world in old mythology, and magic mushrooms grow there. So, and it's called the entrance to the other world. Like we're so rich with mythology and folklore. Like there's so much here. There's so much here, and like it was the Catholic Church, I think, washed it away. I think they wanted the magic gone.
But that's the thing. Like with the plant medicine, just for you to like, I think the main, like for people like holding space with this is not go with your ego. Because I always say this to you, I never sit in the place I'm better to anyone that's going to the ceremony. I hold the space. I have to be leading there because need structure, need like guidance, but I'm a human being. As anyone going there, I'm still growing. I'm still like learning like how to deal with my emotions,
I think from the outside looking in, without even realizing, you're a very relaxing presence. You are, like, just because you're so busy doing things, like you don't really pay much attention to other people paying attention to you, because you're like, okay, so we made the thing and we did the thing and we did the thing and what else do we need to do, and like you're working, and so I think you automatically, people are like relaxed because you're not like, hello and welcome, there's no performing.
No,
it's like, this is work, and it's real and it's human, and you can feel that energy, like, and you're like, you were perfect for it, you were born for it. But go back anyway, so your mom then was more of a doctor type of person.
No, doctor, like spiritism was like
maybe?
It's called spiritism, and it's actually born in France.
Okay.
With Allan Kardec, and he developed the whole doctrine. Well, he received the whole doctrine. I don't know why. Was more developed in Brazil than France. There is even French people like that I talk about, like, no, I never heard about that. I was like, but born there, like, but it's really well developed in Brazil. And then it's very like structured, there is a lot of studies, a lot of books, we now doing these studies in home as well. It's like, it's amazing. We can go to the books and comprehend what's there. And the funny thing, like in the group of study that we just read one of the books of Allan Kardec, it's like, that's remind me when I was doing my yoga teaching training. It's the same language, and that's why we're laughing. Like all the religions and the group of spirituality talk about exactly the same thing.
It's the fundamental wisdom. Like the wisdom is the same.
Exactly the same thing. So we don't need to fight, because it's just the way that we're gonna speak.
Yeah, and it's just like different people need different expressions of the same thing. We're all so different. So of course you're going to gravitate towards certain organizations more than others. And that's why I don't really have a problem with religion, because I like the sense of community. It's the discounting of other people's lives. It's like, I'm better than you because I'm in this. And it's like, no, do your thing, bro. But like, my religion is playing football with my kid on a Sunday. Like, that's okay too, like whatever you do to keep yourself connected to your sources.
And to respect as well.
Yeah, to respect each other. That's to have the open space and to learn from each other, because sometimes one thing is succeeding more than the other, and like, it's not, if it's a competition, there's no room for overlap, when realistically it should be an overlapping thing all the time,
But like, even if you think about the spirituality now, in the sense of like, woohoo, we are like coming from the hippie communities, like the hippies, it's becoming like a little bit like out of the fantasy, like a little bit connect with the fantasy as well, because everyone wants to be a shaman, and nobody even respects the title. That is coming like they don't even know what for a shaman person needs to be like. That's why my understanding. When people call me, it's like, no.
You mean people delivering the medicine and
need the titles, people that's like just entering the plant medicine now, and they don't even have any much like experience in knowledge, and they start like sitting and then serving people without even knowing the dangers as well,
Yeah.
you know, because you have to take care of like who is coming. Like you see, like we have like a massive like questionnaire when the person's coming to comprehending what they want to come in, what like if they getting any antidepressant or anything, because all these things is really really important in any type. Because sometimes you think you're gonna bring benefits for the person, actually you can put them in dangers. You know, it's really really important. It's like I think that's our main thing now, like respects the medicine. You not serve the medicine because you want to be a special person. Ah, look at me, I'm serving medicine. You there because what's your purpose? Why are you doing this? I'm doing this because when I'm helping people, you know, support them in the journey.
And I think, to be fair, you didn't even walk into it like you did. You were reluctant, you know. Like I remember very early. I'm gonna cry, but like you know, it was really sweet. Like because you were like, you could feel the responsibility, you know, and you were like scared of the responsibility. And I remember like at that time you were like, I don't know, and I was like, I think it might be what you're supposed to do. Like I think this is
I wasn't looking for it.
No, you weren't looking for it. And then your leader like said it to you, and I think he planted the seed, and like there was words of encouragement from people who could see that you were ready, you know. So it's like you had so many of the tools and you were still a little bit reluctant to actually have the power, you know, to actually have the responsibility. And I think that was why you're so good for the job, is because you understand the heaviness and the responsibility. And it's like, I'm so emotional. But like the ceremony that I went to, like the people are talking about some serious drama, you know. It's like really sad what some people have gone through. Like one guy, obviously we can't name names, but like he was sexually abused as a child, and he opens this to the room, and like that's what he's trying to work through. And you know, it is a big responsibility, and it's so important. And I'm so glad that you're doing it. Like I really am, because it was fun as well. You know, we laughed a lot. Like it was a really nice space, you know, and everyone felt really safe. And I can't imagine anything more important than that when you're going through something like that, you know. Because it's very vulnerable.
That's exactly what we like. What's like make my heart is like blowing when people say like I never felt so much safe and loved in this space, because we put so much love in each like.
People say to me, they're like, "Is it scary?" And I'm like, "No, if you meet her." I'm like, "Me or Rudrani?" I'm like, "She's too busy making sure that everything's taken care of for you to even be afraid for a second." You know, that kind of way. Like we were just left talking to each other, which was so nice and natural, because it's not this like people just act like you're like going to. You know, this weird, it's like, no, you're coming into just a human environment, and it's very safe, and it's very relaxed, and it's therapeutic, and it's medicinal, and it's beautiful. Like, it's really gorgeous. And I can't wait to come again, but I have to wait until I'm ready. This is the thing with the medicine, right? You do believe that it's certain points in your life that it's necessary.
I think you have, again, way back for the body, I think you have to know what we need, you know, because for example, there is people in the group that's coming for deep study, like we're doing another type of like, you know, study, like we play music together, like
psychologists do it repeatedly because it's for a different service than somebody coming to work through an old trauma.
Exactly, and there is people like feel like, oh, I come in once and then I come back when I feel that I need it.
That's me a little bit. Like I'm not really, like I don't need to do it all the time.
All the time, exactly.
Whereas Mariana is doing a good bit now, because
really?
she's a psychologist. So like that, she kind of, it's part of her work. It's part of it. And Marcus is the same.
Exactly. So it's like it really depends where you are in this track. Like for me, of course, I'm a therapist and I'm serving the medicine, but like it's like if you see like I'm drinking like even like that, and I feel like sometimes people like, oh my god, I'm like, guys, that's exactly what I needed. You know, it's not about quantity, it's about like how much you're opening as well. So it really depends what you're looking for. You know, there's people going because they really doing like a deep work, like as a therapist, or even the own work, you know. And there's people go when they need, like you and other people as well. Like, but the thing is, like with the medicine, you have to feel the calling. You have to be honest with this, not forcing it, or like you can say for your friends, but you can't force them go, like, because this is not good. It's a decision that you have to make by your heart. And you have to be ready to do this. Otherwise, you know, it's not gonna be good.
And like, because I did it the very first time I did it with you was stupid. Like, you're not supposed to eat meat, you're not supposed to have sex, and you're not supposed to drink the week before,
or use any drugs or anything.
And I did all three, and then I came in and just got sick. I got sick a lot, and I did get sick the second time, and I also don't think I was emotionally ready. I wanted to be there for you, which I think was the reason I was there, really. I don't think I was there for the medicine as much, you know, looking back, but it definitely was an example of like right thing, wrong time, you know, where I was like, and like that, I knew I didn't do it justice. Like I was like, this isn't the right experience. And then I started therapy, and after having Ava, I was really sad about being a mom, and I was really angry at men, and I was really angry at my dad, which was just like manifesting as an anger at men in general. And I worked through this with my therapist for months, and I cried and stuff. And then Marcus was like, okay, now I think you're ready. And then you remember the night I just cried for like 6 hours straight.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And it was so weird because before I'd started crying, I had this decision. I wanted to leave, which is so normal for me, like, you know, to run away and to escape. So I had this moment where I was like, I'm going to leave, you know. I'm going to get a McDonald's and I'm going to go home. Me dying there, like, just being like, I'm going to get a McDonald's and go home. And then I think I let go. And I think that was one of the keys. I think if you're overthinking the medicine, it's not going to work either. And I think in that moment, I was like, let go and just let it be whatever it's going to be, you know? And then without me even being consciously aware of it, the pain started to rise. And like, that's the thing. I think people have this weird misconception they're going to trip balls.
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's not acid, bro. You're not going to trip balls. You're just going to really be sad about your relationship with your dad. It's beautiful, but that's what happened, you know. And then I cried, and then it became this like sadness for men, and I started to really feel guilty, and like really I was like, you know, obviously it's really hard to be a woman, but it's so hard to be a man right now, you know. They're really suffering, and like they miss their dad, you know, and it's like all that pain of the men. And it was just like, I was like, oh my god, who? And then cried, and then the next day I was like, I love my dad again, you know. And it was that, and my dad's amazing. Like, people will see him, he's like, he came on. But it wasn't even about him. It was about me, you know. It was my childhood stuff. But like that, it was the medicine. Was it? What does it do?
That's the thing, like
it does lots of different things.
Yeah, the medicine is like expand the space in you for you to see yourself and feel things that you're not able maybe when you completely.
So you think it opens.
It expands your consciousness.
Okay.
You know, to see things in a different way. But it's exactly what you say as well. If you're not open, what's gonna drive in you? Like your brain.
Yeah, my brain.
Because the mind is gonna be present. Like sometimes people, oh yeah, but the thought's gonna turn off my mind. I was like, no, could wake even worse.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be present for really feel the guidance. Because there is people asking me like, oh, how I know it's the guidance from my guides and the medicine when it's like the mind is like you. You are the
driver.
Like the driver, like to understand like what you, because not because you're there, you know, as everything is well protected, like we prepare the space like to be well protected.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But that's not mean that's the influence, the negative influence is not gonna be there. And what's like make the difference? Your filter.
Yeah.
You have to be present. Otherwise, it's like you go like you.
Yeah, that's so true, because even the environment is gorgeous. There's like like you have so many plants, and you have so many Himalayan salt lamps, which just are such a vibe. And you've got gorgeous rainforest music playing, I think it was, and then the fire, and then your little girl, and it was like, that's the thing. I was like, if it's not the environment, so it's me. Do you know, like if every single thing is set up for me to do this healing, I'm the only person not letting it happen, you know? And like, as much as I wanted that McDonald's, I needed to cry about my dad, like, you know what I mean? And like, it was that, like, I was tricking myself into thinking it wasn't working because I was afraid of it working. And like, that was what was happening. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, it's easier for me if I just leave and say it didn't work than if I just stay. And I didn't even say I'm going to stay and it's going to work. I just said I'm going to stay. And that was it. I just said I'm just going to let go, and I'm just going to stay. That's the only thing I have to do, is just be here. And then allowing myself to be there brought the healing.
But that's what to say, like what we're talking before we starting doing all these things here is the pride.
Yeah.
The pride is the one that's holding us to experience the truth.
Yeah.
You know, our truth. Because there is a lot of people going there, it's like, no, I'm sober. And I can see in their eyes, they're completely in the force, you know? And it's like, are you sure? Yeah, I need another glass. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna give you another glass. I'm gonna, like, you wait a little bit because I can see you in the force. But investigate on you if there is any blockage first, you know, like, and then I can, like, you know, we can talk about it. Yeah. And you can see the resistance, and the person not even able to feel the resistance.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, when we talk about like sit and feel your body, it's not just the pleasure things. Like maybe feel the resistance exactly the way there is. Like, whoa, I'm resisting. And don't try to understand the resistance. Because like, but I don't know what's the resistance. Like, don't try to understand.
Like you're thinking yourself out of a physical sensation. Like it's a physical thing. Let it be physical.
Let's be physical. Like there is resistance. Feel the resistance and see you know, how you can.
And that's so interesting because even as I was crying, I kept trying to think about why I was crying. You know what I mean? And your mind is still trying to like attach a thought to the feeling, you know? And it was like, and then I was like, you're just letting pain out, Eve. It's not this, it doesn't have to mean everything at once. It's needed. Like your body needs this, let the physical be the physical, because
it was cleansing.
It was cleansing. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it.
Especially crying, it's so beautiful because it's emotion releasing, you know, like, and then when you try understand, you completely destroy the experience. It's like, I need to understand now, because there is things like you have to understand on the moment, but like it's gonna be so clear that you don't even have to thinking. But sometimes you just have to let it be.
And sometimes one thought can be 2 hours of crying. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not multiple thoughts over the 2 hours. Like for me, I was like, I'm crying because I feel so guilty for my hatred for the men. Like, you know, I felt really guilty about that because I was like, they're suffering, you know, it's sad. And that was the one thought. And then it was just loads of tears because I was like, Jesus, it's hard for all of us. It's a hard life. Like, it's not harder for anybody than anybody else. It's just hard.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Is that a lot of people say, it's like, oh yeah, I want to heal my addictions.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to promise this because first you need to want that. There is people that came in and it's completely freedom now, don't even drink alcohol. Yeah, people coming like with addiction for cocaine or other things, and now they don't even drinking.
Did they do therapy, talk therapy beforehand?
No. Like few of them, yes, few of them, no, you know. But like one thing is make the difference. Like that I notice in people that's arriving there with that problem is like they really want it. You know, that is a guy. Of course, I'm not gonna name it.
They're ready.
They're ready. Like he was like, I don't want this in my life anymore, and he's completely changing. He's a problem. Like he living a poor place now, but he wanted.
Wow.
Before he looking for the medicine, inside of him was enough.
And that's so interesting. The only thing that was left for him was the physical.
Yeah.
Like as in he had done all of the other work, and it was the same with me. It was the same healing but different problems.
Yeah.
The same with me. I had logicalized all of it. I had understood all of it, but I had dormant pain that I hadn't expressed.
Yeah.
And what did he visually look like when he was healing? Was he crying or was he?
Yeah, it was like he actually, for him it was beautiful because it was pure loving energy. He see loving everywhere, and he got emotional for the love. Like he said, like I never felt so much love, you know. As I didn't understand. It's like it was like the beauty in love, and then he was crying and laughing, and then it's like oh my God, I never felt so much love, and then understand what I miss was just love, you know. So it's the experience was amazing, which was like opposite as well. People go with the same problem, and because the resistance there and the prides arrive, and they like get out with a lot of frustration, which is belonging to their own process as well.
Because there are some people who have bad experiences on this, right? And like what does that look like?
For us as a facilitator, it's pretty hard because they starting analyzing everything and be completely in the mind. What we can do is guide, like listen you in the mind, but we can't force them to get out there, you know. So there is situation the person's being completely like, I'm leaving. It's like we can't leave them leave because they are in the force, and it's our responsibility. If something happen, you know, if they crash the car or something like, it's gonna be our responsibility. So we have to be very kind. It's like, listen, it's okay. We're gonna give you some fruits for you to calm down the force.
You take them into the other room.
Like you take for another, talk to them, you know, and then like try explain, like look at your your mind.
So
your
doing
mind
a little bit of therapy with them a little bit.
With them, some people come back and feel like, well, thank you. Some people really resistance, and we have to live in another room until they like finish everything and they feel completely like ready to go, and then they have to go. So in these situations, I personally feel very sad and feel I failed in my job, you know, because you know me, I have such a hard work, and then I know when I prepare everything, it's like I feel like when I don't assess in their hearts, it's something in me is broken, you know. And the difficulty is like I can see the pride there, because I see my pride, you know, in my own process, and see how this can like affecting, you know. But one thing that I started learning now is like accepting, you know. I'm not gonna assessing everyone. I'm gonna do my best to offer them what they need to assess their own self and meet this true self inside of them. But I also is gonna have people, unfortunately, not gonna assess that, because there is different like groups doing, you know, like in our house, as you see, we there for doing the healing. So when they arrive there, it's like, oh, it's not gonna be a party. I'm not gonna see a pink elephant. They're getting frustrated and they like throw everything on us. And for me, my main focus is defending the divine, like which I call medicine, but for me it's the divine. The medicine for me represents the divine. It's the divine being that we're drinking for expanding our consciousness. So if someone like you disrespect that, and that's really, that's like,
yeah, I can. That's what I'm wondering. Do you get a little bit angry if because like that? I can imagine, because you're so defensive, you're such a hard worker, you're so protective. This is your livelihood. Like, it must be hard in the moment to not be pissed off at them.
You need therapy. You're not ready for the medicine yet. You need a lot of therapy,
Yeah.
you know. And before you're doing this work, you need therapy. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like it's a minimum of comprehending of yourself, where you are, what you want.
Well, it's just like you need to learn to swim before you go in the ocean. Like, you know, it's like it's that type of thing. Like, you can't expect to be able to swim.
Yeah.
Like, you have to learn to swim. You know, and then when you can swim, and it's like. You have to learn to feel, and cocaine is a drug that basically stops you from feeling.
Exactly.
And so if you're addicted to cocaine, you haven't been feeling for a really long time. And then ayahuasca surfaces a lot of feeling. Medicine, the medicine surfaces a lot of feelings. And so when you surface, it's like swimming. It's like you've literally just jumped in the fucking middle of the ocean, and you've not learned anything. Like, you have to learn to feel before you go and experience something that's going to really fucking hit into your deepest, darkest, you know?
Yes.
And so I think a lot of people, that's the other misconception, is that like you can just, it's a one-stop shop. It's like, no, you have to be doing the work, like, you know?
Yeah. You need it to be prepared, otherwise it's going to be like the shocks.
And it's a waste. Yeah. It's a waste otherwise, and it's not an enjoyable experience, like, if you don't do the work. We're just going to keep going. Oh, it's at 6%. Okay, and so where can people find you?
Well, can find in my social media. Okay. I'm not like, you know me. I like, it's something that.
Are you happy for us to collaborate on this? Like, and it can be on your social media. Okay, people, so people can find it through there.
Find it there. Okay. And then I have my website as well, which is like in my bio. There, like you can
and Shane, your partner, he provides. You both provide a range of services.
Yes. Yeah.
So you both are kind of.
Not just with plant medicine, but like
you're teachers and students of all avenues of spirituality.
We are therapists.
You know, like meditation, yoga, like it's lots of different. So like if anybody is interested or curious, you don't have to go, you know, up into the mountain straight away. You can take your time, and like these are two people that are really fucking trustworthy and kind and good parents and sweet. And I'm so obsessed with you.
And mad.
Yeah, I'm crazy. 100%. But I don't think people see that side of you in the. Well, I don't know actually.
Well, sometimes.
You did the.
You know, man, the super boss, you know, like.
Like Avatar. I was just lying there crying, being like, oh, one day I'll be just up dancing. Okay, my darling, I love you. I might have you back on because I don't think we finished everything.
Yeah, okay. I always gonna be like, it's super.
Love you, sister.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys. See you next time.
Pa pa pa.
That was so good. That was so good. Oh, you did amazing. Okay, now we can relax.